I wanted to talk to you about engagement. About how to get engagement both organically and with paid ads. All right. And understand that we know that Facebook loves engagement. And the more that we can create content that people are going to engage with, the more Facebook is going to push our stuff organically, but then also the more they're going to lost our cost per impression. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're always creating engaging content. That was part of the reason why last week we did the hooks, right? Because when you can hook somebody and you can grab their attention, you're able to have them watch, right? So, and we have to understand that I read this article that we're at any given day given between 5,000 and 30,000 like ads are being thrown at us at all times. I mean, it's insane just from different ways, right? And with all of the distraction that we have in our life, from our phones to, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, emails, like it's just so much. Do you guys ever feel like it's just like so much, right? So we have to understand that is how our customers and our clients and people that we're trying to go after, they feel the exact same way. So that's why it's so important for us to really understand our client avatar. That's why I gave you guys that client avatar sheet that's around, what is it, around 12 pages long. I'm hoping that you guys are slowly working your way through that. With that being said, how are you doing with the client avatar sheet? Are you guys working through that and putting some time out? We went through it. We told you guys it probably will take you about, probably a good month if you really, really do it right. So if we were to put a good 25 minutes a day on it, by the end of the month, you guys will be done. Anybody can do anything really, really focused for 25 minutes. Just use one small Pomodoro. But it's so important because the more that our content speaks directly to somebody, the more likely they're going to convert. Like, I want you all to repeat that right now. The more likely my content speaks to someone, the more likely they are going to convert. Okay. So the more that we understand who our client avatar is, what they're thinking, what they're going through, the problems they have, their desires, their dreams, the more that we can speak to them to get them to engage with us, right, on a consistent manner. It's all about getting attention. Your job as an agent is, number one, to be a marketer first, right? If I would never be able to coach you if I wasn't a good marketer, none of you would be here. Right? Marketer first, and then I can be the coach. But if I have no one to coach because I'm not a good marketer, it doesn't make a difference that I'm a good coach, right? I've got to be able to market to you. And many of you guys have said to me, Krista, I feel like you were talking directly to me. I feel like you were speaking to me. And you know why? Because I know exactly who you are, because I am you, right? I've been doing that for 20 years. So I understand realtors probably better than, I really, really well. Okay. I understand how you feel. So the more that my messaging, my content can speak to you, that is why you are here. That's your job too. It's how do you get attention on you? How do you keep attention on you? How do you get people to say, yes, I want to work with Juliana Tao. Yes, I do, because she's speaking directly to me. Okay. So please take that client avatar sheet seriously. As you'll notice, I don't know if you guys notice this, but the way that we do things in the program are very sequential, right? So like we did the client avatar, we have our goals that we do every month. We have a client avatar sheet. You guys are working on that now. Now we're talking about ways to engage today with our client avatar. And then you're going to be able to engage more if you really understand who you're engaging with. Okay, who you're engaging with and how to be able to really, really get on that level so they feel like, man, they understand me better than anyone else. They get me. And we do this both on a business level and a personal level. And we then figure out, okay, how do we now make sure that we can take the business side of what we're doing and intertwine it personally so they don't even realize that we're intertwining business and personal, but you're always able to kind of stick it in there. Does it make sense, everybody? So I want you to think about engagement. We want people to engage. Right? That's why sometimes running engagement campaigns are really, really important. I want you to also think about engagement campaigns at times when you want to show your seller that you're getting a lot of engagement on their listing. You run an engagement campaign. You're looking for likes, comments, and shares to be able to show the seller, hey, look at how many people engaged with your ad. And I would also think about that level of engagement with your ad in such a way that you have a certain marketing budget to where you then can show the stats on different content that you're producing and show them, look at how much engagement we're getting, because it completely is going to 1,000,000x your competitors. Okay. And guess what? If you don't have a listing, you are logged in from another device. Your pulse. Okay. Somebody's logged in as me. So you can even do this if you don't have listings. Okay. So you can show your community videos. You can show that. So if you don't have listings, don't freak out. You can just say, look at how much engagement we get with our social media. Right. And remember, perception is reality. So they're not even going to be, when they see you doing real estate stuff, just because it's not a home, they're not going to be like, well, how come there's no homes there? They probably won't think that way. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here real quick. Here we go. All right. Engagement. Attracting an audience and holding their attention is never been as challenging as it is right now, right? We'd all agree. There is just so much stuff out there. And here's the deal, everybody. There's going to continue to be more. As technology continues to change ever so quickly, we have to always be thinking about who our client avatar is. What are their dreams, desires, problems? How can we make sure that we're speaking directly to them? How can we grab their attention? Remember, in order for you to be known, you have to be seen and we have to be heard. People are fickle, they're easily bored, and they're easily distracted. I'll tell you, you guys always say, Krista, you've got so much energy. I have to, because otherwise you guys are falling asleep. I see people yawn when I'm coaching. I'm like, my God, how can you yawn? I am coaching, right? Like, there's a reason why I have this energy, because I know I need to capture your attention. You're on Zoom, for God's sake. Okay. So you wonder why, like, I literally am doing jumping jacks and push-ups before this call, because I know I need to be like Superwoman on here. All right. That's my job. It's your job too. It's your job too with your community. Okay. It's your job. You got to get their attention. You've got to capture it. You've got to keep it. You've got to sustain it, and you need to be consistent about it. We all agree? Yes. Okay. All right. Good. Can I just say, guys, I love my job. Doesn't even feel like a job. Okay. All right. So the best practices for each platform will help build an audience, but you need to have something to say to engage them first. I'm going to give you guys some more strategies today and just to remind you, even though I'm sure you know, on how to constantly have things to talk about. Because let me just tell you the truth, everyone. This is what I do for a living, and it's still hard for me. There's times where I'm like, what in the heck am I going to do a podcast on today? What am I going to even say today? I have the same thing. And that, when I have that, it causes me anxiety, right? It takes up space in my head. It makes me less effective. It makes me have less energy. So we're going to go over a few ways today for you to be able to now take a look at your client avatar sheets and then use the information that you're gathering from that to create a list of things that you can talk about directly relating to your client avatar. You'll notice that we did that the past two sessions. The past two sessions, we gave you hooks. Right now, my team, remind me to ask you guys when that should be done. So now we're giving you more content, so you guys will always have stuff to think about, stuff to say. So when you feel like, what should I do today? Boom, you've got your answers already done. Okay. So the more that we as people can make it to where we have less on our minds, less to think about, less to boggle us down, the more productive that we will be as individuals. Okay. Inspiration is always all around you. It's easy to get stuck trying to figure out what you can actually talk about or what you can say or what you can create content on. I totally understand that. Finding your voice is never easy. And sometimes we still, including me, have those thoughts of, man, I'm not good enough. Or, it's almost like you have imposter syndrome sometimes, right? Like sometimes those little voices creep in of, who am I? Why should they listen to me? Why do I think that I can do this? That's why we need to wear our bracelets and keep them on all the time so we can remind ourselves that we are. And there is nobody better, because I'll tell you, people are not doing in the real estate industry what you are doing now. You guys are paying to be here. Do you know that we have challenges? Okay. And 1,000 people will sign up for the challenge. This is pretty common, around 1,000 people. Well, anywhere between 200 and 300 people, usually around 300, show up. It's a free challenge, by the way. And these people are all real estate agents. They know that I've sold 2,300 homes. I've written 4 best-selling books on real estate, and I'm a digital marketing expert, right? And they don't show up. Out of the 1,000, 300 will show up on day 1. And by day 5, for an hour a day, for 5 days, on day 5, there's usually about 35 to 40% of the people that started show up at the end. So what does that tell you? That tells you that people are not willing to do what it takes, even, especially when it's free, actually, that's why we charge, but they're not willing to do what it takes to have the success that they want, right? So you have so much opportunity, and you are the right person that should be out there giving the content, helping the people, showing up in front of them, because you're not only willing to not show up when it's free, you're paying to show up and to be excellent. So anytime that little voice sticks in and you're like, damn it, I'm not good enough, you just got to slap yourself and say, absolutely, yes, I am. I mean, the people, everyone, now more than ever, they need to learn this stuff, and they aren't even showing up when it's free. Okay. Or we'll do a 2-day event. If you've been to my 2-day event, you know that I rock it, not to sound conceited, but I rock that 2-day event, and I just give so much value. Same thing. People, they don't stay. They don't pay attention. Okay. Because they're not willing to do what it truly takes to be a true community market leader. So if you ever have that doubt that you're not the right person, or you shouldn't be, you shouldn't be thinking, just change it, because it's absolutely 100% not the case whatsoever. Okay. Not the case whatsoever. I just said it. You do have something to say, right? You do have something to say. All right. So let's think about how we can get ideas to continue to source, so we have a plethora. Number one, you guys already have, I think there's at least 500 scripts in the program, so you've got that. But how can we do other things so it doesn't always sound so real estate-y? So it's important to do periodic research and build up a list of ideas for videos and posts. Who can tell me, why is this important to do this periodically? Why is it important? Put it in the chat, or just unmute yourself. Why is it important?
Things are constantly changing.
Yes, thank you, Brian. Things are constantly changing, and we want our messaging to speak directly to people with what's going on and what they're interested in. Okay. A great thing to do is to look at headlines. What are the headlines talking about in the news? What are the headlines happening? What questions are people asking in the groups that you're hanging out in? What's the hot topics? What questions? What are there a lot of posts on? We're going to go over all that. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but we're going to be going over all that today. Things are constantly changing, and we want to stay relevant, Okay. You want to have a library of ideas you can pull from, so you'll never feel left scrambling for a topic. Let me give you some good ideas right now to get you started. Number one, remember, niche, market, community. Okay. Niche, your target audience and where you specialize. That's our niche. Market updates, change to tax codes and new trends or observations from researchers. Like, what's happening in the area, in your field? What's new? What are people talking about? What are people commenting on? What questions are people asking? What's prolific in your area? Community, what is going on around you? Who is doing good work you want to support? Who needs help that you can reach out to? These are all topic ideas. These are all ways for us to continue to stay relevant. Okay, so let's talk about follow trending accounts and see what they are posting about. Let me give you an example. You guys can still see my screen, right? So let me see. So you go to whatstrending.com. So if you go to whatstrending.com, this right here shows you exactly what's trending right now. Okay, whatstrending.com. This shows you what's happening. And I get it that some of this stuff you might think like Cinderella has mixed reactions since arriving on Amazon Prime. The online VS land-based casino experience. These are the top 7 trending sports betting sites in 2021. Significance of supplements to boost testosterone. Oh, that's a good one. Sorry, guys. So the point being, men, you might need that, right? You can talk about, hey, is your testosterone low? I mean, honestly, can I tell you something? That's a real thing. Okay, my husband is 50. And not to be too personal with you, but he tells me like, babe, my testosterone, I don't have the energy that I used to have. And I'm like, well, love, you're 50 years old, I'm sure there are supplements we can take for that. How can we, like, as a man, I know you guys are big, tough men and you don't want to talk about that, but it's real. And I bet you if you did, people would be like, I have that problem too. And I love the fact that you're so real about it. I mean, I can see Jose shaking his head and other men right now. You're saying like, it's a real thing. Brian's laughing and shaking his head. It's kind of a personal thing, but it's a real thing. And it's something that people will be interested in. We want to be able to, I always talk about like my fake hair, right? If I ever see anything about hair growth, I'm like, where is it? I want it. You know, my hair, it doesn't grow very good. And I'm clicking, I'm swiping yes. I'm not swiping left, I'm swiping right. Okay. So when you go to these type of sites that show you, you know, exactly what people are, and this is what people are interested in, everyone. They're looking at that. That's what's going on right now. And they're showing you this because that's what's trending. People are looking it up. Okay. TikTok videos show protest over Phi Gamma Delta fraternity member for sexual assault. Like all of these things, you can go here to whatstrending.com and think about things that you can speak about. Okay. Yeah, see, there's a lot of testosterone things going on. Wow, need to, that's my husband. Okay, so this is really, really great. Gives you content to speak about, gives you content to post about, content to put in your newsletters, the whole 9 yards. Since we're on this page right now, I also want to show you this, and I've showed you before, but I'm going to show you again. For some of you who are new, it'll be a review. Answerthepublic.com. So answerthepublic.com. This is a free where you can go here. I think they'll let you do around 3 searches a week, and you'll put in buying a home. Okay. And when you put that in, again, now all of a sudden, understand that what they're doing is they're giving you the most relevant questions that people are searching. And so here we've got buying a home, who pays the realtor? Buying a home, who pays closing costs? Like, look at all these guys. Buying a home, who pays for the appraisal? All of these things are the most common questions that people are putting into the web right now. Okay, so this right here, when you do that, and these change all the time based upon what's happening right now, right? And they've got you, it has the who, what, when, where, why, and then it puts it all into, you know, nice and easy for you, right? Look at this. Buying a home abroad, buying a home at auction, buying a home after divorce, buying a home as a single woman, buying a home as a student, buying a home alone. These are all topics that people are putting in that they want, that's going into the web, and it's putting it in a nice, easy way for you to do. If you just did that, like this right here gives you enough content for the whole year just from buying a home. Okay. Okay. So we got answerthepublic.com, whatstrending.com are places that you can find things. Also, we want to look at, let me move this up here. Look for rising hashtags. Nick and Sativa, if you can do me a favor, and is there some kind of like a place where we can send them to go to look for hashtags that are doing good? If anyone knows that, feel free to stick it in the chat. But I'd love to be able to tell them ways to find hashtags that are rising and doing well. Look at the Explore page on Instagram for recommended trending content. Okay. And participate in social challenges like the Ice Bucket Challenge or 75 Hard. Why is this important? All right. Starting a book club, doing things like that. When you engage with people for these types of things, it causes camaraderie, right? One of the things that Russell, my coach, talked to me about when I first hired him was how important it is to create a community and a tribe that really, really sticks together, and how your tribe can literally make or break your programs. Okay. So the same for you as creating communities within your local community where people feel wanted, people feel loved, people feel respected, people will then reach out to you for help. Okay. People then reach out to you for help. Does it make sense, everyone? So when you start a challenge, and that was one of the things that was on our list last week, right? Or Tuesday and Thursday was, you could do a challenge for something. So, and the reason we have that one on there, we made those questions up, was because we know that if you're a part of a challenge, especially if you start one, that's going to help you get closer to your community. The closer you can get with it. All right, Christina, she started a weight loss challenge. That's so good. So the more that you can get closer to your community, now they're seeing you not just as a realtor, but as a person. People want to work with people they like, They know and they trust. And when you're that community market leader, by you doing that, now all of a sudden you're not just the realtor who wants to shove business down their face. You're actually a person. Okay. And I'll tell you something. I have been so relentless about the community, this community. I don't know if you guys can tell, like we definitely have a no a-hole policy. We truly turn people down every single month. Like, and we love doing it. So we're like, they're not getting in here, you know? And we mean it because I unfortunately it was the first year I was a coach, and you know how there's those people that you just can't ever do enough with, right? So we had one woman and she was just like, wasn't sure she wanted to be a realtor. And then she went on vacation and didn't work for a while. And then she's, voxing me just like crazy. And back then they had Voxer access. And so I'm like, okay, no problem. But I'm on vacation this month. And she'd still like, this week, and she'd call me a million times. And she just was like one of those people that we let in that shouldn't have gotten in. And I'll tell you, the program did not work for her because she wasn't working the program, and she started being like a crab and trying to take people down. And it was amazing how quickly a crab can spread. It's like weeds, how quickly, right? And so we know, like we teach it, we preach it. We have a zero tolerance and a loving way policy to make sure that this community stays the way it is, right? And for a reason, because we want to grow together and expand together. You can be that go-to trusted person in your own community. And I have to say this, you would not believe how many people don't have someone. The amount of people that really don't have community, that haven't made the connection, the amount of people that are moving out of their areas that they've lived in for such a long time, especially out of California, into other places, the amount of people that don't have the closeness yet is unbelievable. Okay, it's unbelievable the amount of people that don't have people. So be that resource for them, especially if you're in an area where people are moving to. Okay, start that. Don't forget about, don't underestimate the seasonal calendar, right? We want to start thinking ahead. What's happening in the next 2 months? Like right now we're in September. Hey guys, Halloween's is in like 7 weeks. So you might want to start thinking about Halloween. And then next month you're going to want to think about Thanksgiving, and then month after that you're going to want to think about Christmas, because in order to get things done for this, we have to prepare in advance. So be thinking about that. Things like back to school, or obviously Christmas, which is coming up, birthdays, spring forward, fall back. What type of things can you do to incorporate in your marketing in advance? Right? Looking ahead, thinking, practicing, so that you can be on top of things. Summer vacations, to-do lists, packing lists. We can go on and on about all the different types of things. This is actually, it's not ask the people, it's answerthepeople.com. It's where you enter the keywords to talk about industry, niche, country, state, city, etc. I just showed you guys that a minute ago. See what people are asking and use that as a starting point to provide information. Okay. This is also, oops, sorry. My thing moves too fast sometimes. This is also a tool to help you shape SEO mindful videos and titles. Why is that? Because understand that answerthepublic.com are the most frequent questions that people are asking regarding that subject. When you do that, you also want to make sure that you are including your city and your zip code and that kind of thing, or certain landmarks that are specific to where you live, because otherwise your topics will get lost in the SEO world. Okay, so make sure you also bring it back to current. Again, I already showed you this. This is answerthepublic.com. So also Facebook in your community, join Facebook groups that are focused locally in your community. Join them, create them, be a part of them. Look at what questions people are posting. See what posts have top likes, top comments, top shares. See what kinds of groups are trending locally. Like the growing millennial community, people advocating for a new dog park. Oops, sorry, too fast. Concerned parents looking for nut-free foods, trick-or-treating. I mean, what are people interested in? And don't be afraid, everyone, about something being too small, niche when you do this, because the more niche it is, the more likely they're going to choose you. Okay, the more likely they're going to choose you because you relate to them. Also, don't forget about storytelling when you're talking about things. What's your selling point? Remember, facts tell, stories sell. Everybody repeat that. Facts tell, stories sell. Okay. Tell stories. What feature are you trying to spotlight? What are you truly trying to sell? This can be an idea or piece of information, not just a product. Simply state your selling point in a selling storytelling way. Okay. What's the story the audience is already telling themselves? This is so important, everyone. Everyone listen to me. I'm going to understand this. What is the story people are already telling themselves? Okay. So I want you to think about something. If you remember, if you've been to the 2-day event, I'm constantly telling stories, but I'm also telling you basically through my teaching what you're telling yourself, right? Like, oh, this won't work for me. I can't do this. I'm too new. I'm too young. I'm too old. I don't have this. So the entire 2-day event is wrapped around helping you understand, like, I'm repeating to you what you're telling yourself, but then I'm making you understand that really it's not true. Part of my job as a teacher, just so you know, as a coach, is to get you to believe that you can do it. So I have to know what it is that you're telling yourself that isn't true so I can counteract it. You have to know what stories people are telling themselves about your area, what they're going through, so you can counteract what they're telling you. How do you counteract what they're telling you? Because those stories are just that, they're just stories. Okay. And so if you know what they're saying about, that's why it's so important to identify the problems people are having, because if you can identify the problems people are having, then you're going to be able to be much more likely, when you can identify those problems that people are having, to be able to like retell the story in the correct way to them. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? So you guys get it? Okay, good. I love when I see the head shake, because then I know that you guys understand what it is that I'm stepping in. Okay. What are the beliefs they already have? Are those beliefs true? How can you counteract those beliefs? How can you reiterate those beliefs? Right? Both are true. You want to do both that time. Sometimes you want to reiterate beliefs that are right, but you also want to counteract beliefs that are negative. How can you change their beliefs for the positive to get them to understand that their beliefs may not be serving them appropriately? Right? For example, a good example of this is if people think that doing open houses is the best thing they can do, that's a belief based upon honestly misguided information from when we did open houses in the past, because we didn't have this great thing called the internet or social media, or we didn't know how to market, right? We all know that, truth be told, that if buyers are really serious, they have an agent working for them and they're doing it at their time. So we have to change people's beliefs when they've been taught something that may or may not be right. How can you excite them enough to switch over to your story? Right? Let me hear that again. How can you excite them enough to switch over to your story? How can we get them through our storytelling, through changing their beliefs to be what really is the case, to actually switch over to the real story? Tell them a story that relates to your selling point. Right? We're always bringing it back as much as we can, when we can, to what it is that we are trying to sell them. We also want to connect your audience to your selling point by helping them visualize themselves in a future state. This is so important, everyone, is that telling stories and helping people understand where they're at now and how we can help get them to where they want to go, and what their life's going to look like when they do, how things are going to change for the good, understanding where they are right now with their pain points and their fears and how things are happening to them, and how do we get them now to understand what it's going to look like, feel like, be like within themselves, within their family in the future, when they now get to that new thing that they want. Also, it's a good thing to prompt your audience with thought starters like imagine if, and what if, and can't you see yourself? Imagine if is a really powerful one. Okay. All right. Okay. So your homework is going to be to brainstorm a list of 25 topic ideas. Don't use the examples we've already talked about. 25 seems like a lot, but take a breath. It's a challenge, and good to see how far you can push yourself. See which ideas can be jumping points to others. And that's a really good thing. Once one idea comes, you can start thinking. I want you guys to think about any patterns that you see as you're starting to do these type of topics. And also, I want you to think about just how easy it was when you met last week and you started brainstorming, right, with each other. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, one thing led off of another, and how when you brainstorm with people, like they think about things that you don't think about. That's why masterminding, when I put you guys in a group, is so powerful, because it helps you, it like opens up your mind. It opens up your mind. Hey there, I have a brand new podcast called Fired Up with Krista Mashore, where I bring my high energy right to your ears. This podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. So do me a favor, go subscribe and leave a review. All this information is free, and I cannot wait to teach you everything I know. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.